So, man, we got a few people that are on. Some of you guys have cameras on, some of you guys don't. But if anybody has any questions that they want to ask Rodney, now's the time to do so, man. You can get those questions answered directly from him. You guys see the importance of, owning a business, and everybody here is a business owner. We're all part of the business, and that's definitely key. So you guys are going to now qualify for all of these business deductions, over 500 legal business deductions. But does anybody have any questions at all that they want to go ahead and take the time to ask right now? If so, just kindly unmute yourself and unmute your question and excuse me, ask your question.
Good evening. I'd like to ask a question.
Yes,
Because
ma'am. Go ahead.
a lot of times when I'm out prospecting, I try to get that person's information, i.e. name, phone number, and best email address. Is that how I track who my prospects are for tax purposes?
Well, that's a great way to do it, but the better way to do it is to track it with your inventory. You see, you want to track a prospect by the inventory. So if you sample an inventory for that activity of exchange, then you can exchange the information for my sample. And if you're tracking the sample, you can track the inventory. That's a great way to do it as well. You can use your CRM or your back office, or you can manually create a log. And that'll be a great way as well. I encourage all business owners, set yourself a goal every day. Like you said, I want to get 5 prospects today, but we know the law average is 1 out of 10. So you're going to have to talk to 50 people. And so go out and get 50 names. 5 of them should say yes. And so if you're tracking this information, at the end of the week, you should have 250 names. And so some people don't go that many. You can set it at whatever you want to set it, but you're going to create a system. And for tax purposes, I won't need that information. What I'll need is your inventory cost. Right now, I gave away this much. I spent this much in mileage going to talk to. So we'll need to track those things, the cost. And so that's what you're going to keep up with for tax purposes. Anything that costs you out of pocket. Did that answer your question?
Guess that's a yes. They went back on mute. Anybody else have any questions?
I want to put some value on it, Sonic. When you look at it, normally it costs $200 an hour to talk to Rodney, y'all. Sonic put this call together so y'all can ask these questions for free.
Get 'em in.
And so I definitely encourage everybody to take advantage while you have me on the phone for free to ask these questions. Because once we get off the call, everybody want to talk, and it does cost to talk to Rodney. And so we want to put the value on the questions, because if y'all have questions, I have answers. Let's get some understanding. That's the best part of life.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so normally I file with my husband, and I saw in the beginning said not to do that.
No, just for tax. The W-4 and how you file is different. Your W-4 is just for taxes, for tax
Okay.
purposes. You filing married, filing jointly is proper. The law states
Okay.
after 6 months, if you have the same last name and live under the same house, you have to file together, married, filing jointly. So you're doing it proper. But
Okay,
for your W-4, I want
That's
you
if
to
you have
go
a
to
job.
HR.
Man,
Right. If
yeah.
you're an employee, that's where you go change how much taxes come out your check.
Okay.
That's where you got to go single and zero. That's what I'm suggesting. Even if you're married, you can go single and zero on that W-4.
Okay.
And what was the
And
time
that
period that you suggested on that, sir?
8 months and 4 months, you can do whatever you want. For example, myself, January through August, I go single and zero. But in August through December, everyone in my family's birthday fall in those 4 months. So I go married and exempt. So no taxes come out from August through December. So 4 months, I go tax free. During the months, I normally be buying gifts, normally be buying things for the holidays. So you don't want those taxes to come out. But I pay good taxes and more than enough those first 8 months. That's what I'm suggesting.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Good deal. Questions?
I have a quick question.
Yes,
If
ma'am.
you, say for instance, I'm a licensed insurance agent,
Mhm.
and also, as you mentioned, we're part of this business as well. Would I have to consider those two different businesses, or could I put them all under one umbrella?
No, ma'am, you would definitely have to consider them two different business because
Okay,
insurance is definitely not health and wellness, two
gotcha.
different industries. And so you're just a multiple business owner. If you're a sole proprietor and you haven't incorporated or anything, then you would just be putting two Schedule Cs on your personal 1040 taxes. And
Okay,
so you would send separate expenses. Now, I do encourage you to get two different business bank accounts for those because your insurance money shouldn't commingle with your wellness money.
okay, great. Thank you so much.
No problem. Good question.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what I had a property. Um, I used it as a rental, but last year back in October, I sold my property. And
Mhm.
so I know you talked about utilizing your home and things like that as a way to
The
kind of help
corporate
with your taxes.
headquarters. Home is corporate headquarters for every single person on this call.
Hmm.
And so that's what I encourage it to be.
Okay, so what? Okay, because so now I got rid of my house.
Right.
I moved in with my mom.
A home,
And I
this is what's beautiful. I'm about to tell you the law. You're gonna love this. A home-based business is an apartment, a RV, or a boat. Did you know
Okay,
you can write off a location that is not claiming the exact same business as you as long as they don't have the same last name?
and
And
we
so
don't.
extended living is real. And so you can definitely write off the space that you use, even if the person that owns the home is not writing that space off. And
Okay,
so
and
just
that's
make sure
good.
you have square footage of the area that's exclusive for your business use. And you can
And
write
I
that
did.
off, even though you're not the owner of the home.
Okay,
It'll just be a rent expense for you.
okay,
And any part of the water, utilities, cable, internet, whatever you help and pay, anything out of pocket is what you'll be writing off in the name of business.
gotcha. Okay,
That's how
all
you
right,
separate those deductions.
okay, all right. Thank you.
No problem. Good question.
Rodney, we know we deal with I mean some really fantastic products that we have that help people in a variety of different ways. And we're all products of the products. And that allows us to be able to write that stuff off as well, correct?
Correct. That's inventory for you. And
So,
so y'all should be buying inventory for sampling purposes, inventory for being the product of the product, and then writing it off all as business expenses. And
absolutely.
so anything that you buy, you may want to, once you create your customer base, you are the connection, not the company. You're not giving, a lot of these companies will have it to where your customer can go directly to the website and order, but that cuts you out the process. And so if you staying in touch with your customer, now you can be ordering the product early in advance for your customer so that you never run out for your customer. And remember, all of your inventory is 100% tax deductible for you. And so you just have to create that pattern so you'll know how much you sampling, how much you're using for yourself, how much you buying for customers. And that way you can keep your inventory in stock.
Nice. Good stuff. Okay.
And
Now
that's how y'all are maximized.
we have some new, that we're gonna call them new business owners online who may not have had a chance to set up the correct way, as you were stating, having a EIN and business bank account and everything else. And so for those individuals, is it true? I know you said that you go back 3 years and amend and things like that as well.
Yeah, that's an amendment. Well, I tell everybody, Sonic, Rodney is just the warner. I'm the messenger. I'm not the IRS. I'm not the police. So you're not being audited. And so that information is required if you get audited. And so I tell everybody, you're not being audited if you're hearing this from me right now. So it's a great time for you to go get that information. I've known business owners to be in business 20 years and never have a DBA or a business bank account. And
Mhm.
so doesn't mean they're doing it right just because you went that long without getting caught. And so legally, these things are required. And so this is why I suggest them. But
Mhm.
people say, when do I need it by? You don't need any of that to file your taxes. But if you were ever to be audited, all of that is required. And so remember, audit is my specialty. So if I know what's going to happen in an audit, shouldn't I warn tax clients before they even get audited? And so
Absolutely.
this is what we do. I'm a warner, I'm the messenger. And so I'm just giving people a message that this documentation is required to say that you're actually in business. Because on your taxes, we're sending a tax story. And so I tell people, let's make sure that your paperwork matches that story. And so you can send your taxes and never have a DBA, but you're telling the IRS, I have this, I have a business plan, I have goals, I'm going after this. It didn't work. I ended up taking a business loss, ended up yielding me thousands on my tax return, which you can legally do. But at the same time, if they ever want to come and check and just to make sure that you're real and that your business is real, I suggest you have all your paperwork to match that story. And so there is no time frame. I suggest you go get it tomorrow because we'll never know when you'll be audited. And so I just encourage business owners to have that. That's audit information that you'll have to have. It's not tax information. The only thing that's going to be required for your taxes is your profit loss, your yearly expenses. And that's what most tax professionals going to want from you. Only
Right.
the audit, the IRS is going to want all of that documentation that I spoke of. And that's more of planning. And so, but everybody's an individual case. And so I definitely would talk to everybody on the individual situation to see how prepared your paperwork is. But that's my
Absolutely.
theme. Yeah, we want to make sure your paperwork matches story.
Now, by law, most companies are not sending any kind of 1099 unless you make at least 600. And if you're a consultant that didn't make that much for the year and didn't get a 1099, can you explain that they can still
Yeah,
file their losses
yeah,
and all this other
definitely.
stuff?
Remember, we're looking for a loss. I
Right.
tell everybody in the first 3 to 5 years, most businesses statistically lose. Your business is no different. When you make it to Rodney, it's not about what you made, it's mostly about what you spent. And so I didn't make any money, Rodney. Did you spend any money? And so that's what I want to get back. But you don't realize your glasses, your prescription. If you can't see, you can't properly do your business. So that's a tax deduction. It's so many things we can write off in the name of business you may not know. And
Mm.
so that's what we teach people. What you can write off. Once you know what you can legally do, you start to do these things. And every year, Sonic, you get better and better. You won't get this over the weekend. You won't get this overnight. But the experience of writing these things off every year will make you start to research credits, start to find deductions, start to get innovative and creative with your business strategy, and start doing marketing and prospecting and picking a target location, looking for a real demographic. You'll start doing and operating your business that way instead of just jumping on the calls, jumping on the Zooms, thinking that your business is going to grow. It's not. You're going to have to go out there and sell. And so I tell everybody, you're over the sales department. That company won't sell one of your products. You have to go sell it. And so this is a great way to encourage the owner to get out there and make some money. But if you happen to slip and don't make any, we're going to fall on a bunch of money for your tax refund. And that's the beautiful part. You don't pay taxes on a tax refund, Sonic. So that's free money. I want to make sure we increase your free money by thousands legally. That's the goal.
Absolutely. Man, I had a really good question, but I got excited with your past answer.
No problem, man. We want to make sure
Man,
that the people have a good understanding. And
yeah,
that's what's
absolutely.
key.
Absolutely.
Here's some questions in the chat. Any questions in the chat? I
Just a
saw
bunch of thank yous for the great information, but no questions.
okay, good deal. Just want to say salute and thank everybody for y'all time. Y'all don't know how important this information is. And remember, none of this is my opinion. All of everything that I said is in black and white, and you can find it on irs.gov. I always send everybody to the source. You
Yeah,
put
that was the
business,
question. I just
right?
remembered. Sorry, you
Okay, good
reminded me.
deal.
So I got my and I had two. One is remind me to come back to travel. Me personally, man, I launched my company. I want to say back in 1997, a long time ago, right? And back then they told me that I I can only get one EIN number. And so if the person has multiple business now, sole proprietor, what have you, can we now get multiple EIN numbers if we're in travel and
That
health and
law
wellness?
changed in 2017. They actually changed it in 2017 to prevent
Okay,
that, because you used to be able to hide with EINs. But what they do now is you have to change your entity structure.
right.
You have to go from sole proprietor to corporation. Then they'll give you a different EIN. If you start a partnership, you'll get a partnership EIN. And so this is how you get a different EIN. Now, if you're a multiple business owner, I have 5 businesses. And so each business has a business account. What the business owner has to do, and there is no way around it, is call the EIN for the second and every business after, and ask them to remove the first business and add the next business for banking purposes. And remember that you have to let them know that it's for banking purposes. I'm warning everyone, that's about an hour and a half wait on that call, per call. And they don't let you do more than one business at a time. So you'll have to hang up and call back for the next business. But this is how you have to do it if you have multiple businesses, Sonic. You have to make sure that you call in that EIN department for the second and every business after.
Okay,
But
so
the
we have to
first one you can
call
go
it.
on Iris. Yeah, the
Okay,
first one you can go on iris.gov and just do it online, 3
right,
minutes, less than 5 minutes.
right.
But the second business, you'll have to call the EIN department.
Ah,
And you
okay,
just go to irs.gov, put EIN in the search box, hit enter, and it's going to give you the phone number to call. And be prepared to wait. And
okay,
once you get them on, just let them know I have a second business I want to add to my EIN for banking purposes. Because the only people that's requiring that EIN for the second business is the bank, so that you're not commingling. That's the
okay.
purpose of getting multiple DBAs and multiple EINs.
And is
But
that,
if you want,
do we change the
go ahead.
name?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was about to say. If you
Okay,
have a variation of the name, then you can just entity structure, and what people like to say umbrella, and what they really mean is subsidiaries of a corporation. And so this is why a lot of people are switching to S Corp. And S Corp is the only status, Sonic, that allows you to actually hire yourself as a business owner. I don't want you sole proprietor business owners thinking that you can W-2 yourself. You can't. And Google that. You cannot do that as a sole proprietor or a partnership owner. You have to be S Corp or better in order to W-2 yourself. And that's a great way. This is why a lot of people are shifting their entity structure to S Corp, so they can really take advantage. And that's usually, I tell people, let's let the money determine that. You don't need all of that in the beginning. You
right.
just need a simple DBA with the county, less than $25, and then a simple EIN, free. And those two things can get you started with a business bank account. And once you got that set up and structured, we can start to put your plan together from there. But it stops you from commingling. It starts the separation. You in your mind, if you know you can write it off, you spend from the business account, not the personal account. And so this starts to train it. And every year you'll get better and better. And if you, like you say, once you start to build your business portfolio, you're gonna have some travel, you're gonna have some real estate and some other things. And you said one question about travel before I let you
Right.
get going
So
here.
you and I, we met, because of the travel industry. Um, my question was, while we were in travel, we knew travel was pretty much an automatic business deduction because we were doing it in the name of business, But even people that are in just health and wellness can write off travel, especially when we're traveling like to conventions, regional conventions and things like that. Is that correct? And can you speak on that as well?
Yeah, definitely. All travel that's business related is tax deductible to the business owner. You just have to prove on a consistent and regular basis that this travel is for your business. And that's where the documentation comes in. That's where creating that law. They're not gonna give you a deduction for something you pop up and do once or twice a year. Convention definitely counts, but I mean, like if you say, I'm writing off these miles on my car and you going to work, but did you know you could go to work every day, stop at the gas station across the street from your job, market your business and write off the mileage from home to that gas station because that's your normal market mile route. And then go from that gas station to work. And then when you get off work, Sonny, where you going? Back to the gas
To the
station,
gas station.
back to introduce yourself, back to start the mileage count. And when do you take this trip? Every day going to work. And this is how an employee can write off business mileage every day in the name of business, if you just document properly. And nowadays, you don't even have to log it. You can just buy you one of those mileage tracking apps and just hit start when you leave, stop when you get to the gas station. When you get off, hit start when you get to the gas station and stop when you get back home. And it's gonna ask one question: what's the business purpose? Marketing, advertising, prospecting, sales. Pick one. You mapping every time you leave. And so that's how you get to travel as a wellness consultant. Now, travel agents, of course, that's their industry. That's why their travel is different. But as a wellness consultant, travel is not your industry. That's not what you do. You sell product and services. And so you have to really show that your travel is for business benefit or derive business result. And so just document it real good. Make sure you're doing it consistently. Try to do it about 3 days a week, pick 3 days. And if you're an employee going to work, make sure you document that every day. And so that's going to give you a beautiful mileage deduction. And this is how you take advantage of travel. But any travel you do in the name of business, especially, is going to be 100% tax deductible, like conventions and things. But I just want to take advantage when we're not at convention, when it's Monday or Tuesday. What
Right.
should you be doing? You should be deducting miles at least. You should be make sure that you're sending out some emails. Make sure that you mailing out some product. And so doing something according to your plan, not just to, logging into the call and hoping you're gonna get something that's gonna sell. Or somebody gonna say something on the call that's gonna increase your sales. It's not. The only thing that's gonna increase the sales is the individual. So I encourage you all to get out there and sell more.
Good stuff. And Angela, yeah, I have one. I'll send to you. I got to. There was, what is the, let me see the question back. We was talking about travel. Man, you hit something. Angela threw me off. Okay, sorry about that. All right. Anybody else? Any last minute questions? Anybody?
Just one more question about the EIN when you if you have multiple businesses. So I can, have my health and wellness business and then say I have an incense business. I need to call IRS and tell them I want to put it under the same EIN, or do
Yes,
they
ma'am.
don't give?
Just
Okay.
like that, just like you said it. I want to put my incense business on my health and wellness EIN for banking purposes.
Okay.
And what they're gonna do is tell you, we're gonna take that name off. We're gonna take your health and wellness off. So the only thing gonna be in our system is your second business.
Okay.
And that's fine. That's why we encourage everybody to keep that letter. When you get that EIN letter, it's important
Yeah.
that you print it. I tell everybody, laminate it, because that's the only one you're gonna get. And
Yeah.
that's what the bank uses. And
Okay.
so when you do the second business, they're gonna fax it to you or they'll mail it to you, the second EIN letter. And so
Okay.
that's when you'll get an opportunity to take that one to the bank and open up the next business. If you have a
Okay.
third, they'll take it out for the third business as well. You just want to
Okay.
keep going with each business that you have. And that's if you remain as a sole proprietor. If you're talking about changing your entity, they'll give you a new EIN with your entity change. And so let's say you and your husband decide to do a husband and wife qualified joint venture on the real estate, and y'all buying property and open up a realty company. That's a partnership, not a 1040 filing. Or you might say, hey, the company making a lot of money. I want to W-2 myself, Rodney. So I need to S Corp so I can shift the income and W-2 myself. And so that may be one of your strategies in the future. We just base it on which will maximize you the most. And so a lot of people just don't know how to look at their situation, or their tax professional is not even advising these things. And the sad thing about it is they got paid first because we get our money immediately. And so we tell everybody, I don't do this to get clients. I do this so you could demand a better preparation. And if they just not qualified to do your taxes, by all means, definitely contact Rodney. We're gonna make sure we get you the best preparation.
All right, last question really quickly. When we
Thank
talked
you.
about, sorry, Marion.
No problem,
When we talk about mileage, is it
sir.
an and or both situation where we can
It's
write off
both. They
mileage, the gas,
oh no, it's actual or mileage. They call it actual expenses, and these are the cost of the vehicle. You know,
right,
you want to call it your company vehicle. You want to stop calling it your car.
right,
You want to call it your company vehicle. I encourage everybody to get some magnet signs. You don't have to wrap your car. Get some magnets, put them on side of your car. That would transition any car into a company vehicle. This is a great way for documentation purposes. But it's still old fashioned, Sonic. You get one or the other.
okay,
And so what we like to encourage people, if you know you drive less, then you definitely want to make sure you get your actual expenses, your insurance, the maintenance, the fuel. You want to get all of those things, parking and tolls. You want to get those things. But if you know I'm putting 40,000 miles on the road every year, then if you driving to work an hour commute every day, you know what that's gonna be for the year. If you put in 40,000 miles, they're gonna multiply that times 53 cents. I mean 63 cents. And so none of your actual expenses can catch that. And so that deduction is gonna be beautiful for you, almost a $30,000 deduction for you in the name of mileage, Sonic.
mm,
I've seen mileage change a refund by $4,000 or $5,000 just because they documented their miles, and it's less than a minute activity. And so if people say if you drive a lot, then go for your mileage. If you don't drive a lot, then you want to go for your actual expenses. That's the best way to get your mileage deduction or your vehicle deduction.
great answer, and I
And
appreciate the
people
information.
ask leasing, or do I own it? Which is better? When you lease it, that's an actual deduction. When you own it, all you're getting is the actual expenses or the mileage. So there's a third option for a deduction if you lease.
So you can, if you lease a vehicle, and that's a company vehicle, and you can get the lease payments and the mileage.
If you choose mileage over actual. Remember, why would you get the mileage on a leased vehicle? Because they restrict it.
Mm, okay.
And so we don't need the mileage, we need the actual. Them oil changes for those leased vehicles expensive. You see, the tires, the car washes, those things expensive. Can go to a regular car wash in a leased vehicle. You got to get a detail.
Right.
Detail
Okay.
is $100 a pop.
Mm,
You do that 2 times a month, that's $2,400 a year. That's a beautiful deduction on your company vehicle. And so on top of the lease and whatever it was, on top of parking, on top of all of the actual expenses you can incur, because they're going to restrict you to a certain amount of mileage on that leased vehicle. And so it's a great way for you to create a third opportunity with a company vehicle by leasing.
good stuff, man. Well, listen, man, you've spent more than enough time with us educating everybody. I greatly appreciate you taking that opportunity to do that. This man is a professional. He knows his stuff, and so that's why I wanted the opportunity for him to come on and explain some things to you guys, so you could take some notes. You really know how to use your business to begin to maximize your tax refund.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. So thank you so
Beautiful
much,
stuff.
Mr. Lamb, for sharing your knowledge with everybody. And we've provided your information. For those that are looking for a recommendation, what I'll do is I'll share the app that I use to track mileage and expenses and everything in the group, so you
Yeah.
guys could take a look at that as well. And you know, and you'll have access to it. So we'd like to thank everybody for, you know, that attended. And if you're watching the replay, thank you for watching the replay. And Mr. Lamb, you want to close out with anything?
Man, I just want to say again, thank everybody for being on here, because my goal, again, you can only rise as high as the information you possess. You only know what you know. And I believe that if I can change your information, I can change your life, at least financially. And so I hope this information has started a change, started you to at least start to look at other options. You can't make the best decision unless you know all your options. And so Rodney loves to give you more of your options, let you know what you legally qualify for. I want you to know what you can do, not what you can't do. And so I just want to appreciate Sonic for having me on, sharing me with the team so that the team can win. These are the leaders that you want with you, ladies and gentlemen. And so I just want to give a big salute to everybody on here. Big salute to Sonic. Thanks for having Truth and Deuce on. And again, next time, no, it's not an answer, sir. I know they're going to ask. So you just give me a date and let's do it again.
I appreciate you, sir. Thank you so much.
Y'all
for
have a
everything.
good one and good night.
Good night.